We were all stunned by the fact that there was a women's jazz band on the scene. And here was Alive with 4 instrumentalists and a remarkable vocalist. And there was Barbara Borden driving the beat from a drum kit. Such complicated polyrhythms in conjunction with what Carolyn Brandy was doing with hand percussion and the congas. It was a rhythm section like none of us had heard before.
A group of women named Alive was one of the main groups that brought jazz to women's music. I had heard of them, but I never heard them before I auditioned with them. But the stories I would hear is, oh my God, these women are wild. They do crazy things. They just jam for hours and they jump off the stage and walk around playing their instruments. And lo and behold, it was all true.
Well, we needed a drummer, drum set, to get more of a jazz sound. We wanted not just congas, but also that drum set sound. Barbara was playing a gig in San Rafael at a studio. She was up on this big stage with these gigantic flowers around her, and she was a big personality.
So we interviewed for a piano player and a set drummer. We went to their gigs, we watched them play, and Barbara and Janet were the obvious choices.
Band wasn't put together as the bands that say, let's make a band, go on the road, and make a record, and become stars. It was more like, let's get together and play and see where the music takes us.
The experimentation can be heard in the group's sound, definitely their own, but one that blends jazz with blues, gospel, swing. 4 of the 5 come from classical music backgrounds, and while it's their music, it's also theirs to give.
At that time, we were traveling in a Ford Econoline van. There were 5 of us, full drum kit, 4 congas, an acoustic cello, an acoustic stand-up bass, an amplifier.
I remember times when we would drive for hours and hours and hours and hours, get to a place, unload, do the sound check, do the gig, load up, and drive to the next place.
Yeah.
We were young.
Yeah. We weren't that young. We were all in our 30s.
Yeah, early 30s.
Early 30s. But still, that's the thing you do when you're in your early 20s, usually.
We would go to a lot of festivals, jazz festivals, and meet so many other musicians. It was just a very fertile ground for learning and sharing and expanding. When we would play, the fusion of those 2 drummers, those interlocking rhythms, that is such a powerful experience.
Alive was so exciting, each and every single member. And just particularly Barbara was so compelling with her smile and her love of playing. I was such an Alive fan. I was her groupie.
On a great night, I remember that somehow the energy becomes larger than we are, and the audience on a good night, they pick that up and they amplify that energy.
I gotta wear my very own. I'm not about to spend even one lonely night at home alone. I go out, drink all the Perrier water I can find. Walk the streets all night. I can handle anybody that don't act right. I'm telling you that, wow, women don't worry. Wow, women don't get the blues.
We were blessed. We didn't even know how blessed we were.
No, it's
I've
really
never
true.
had a musical experience like live.
Alive was like my musical family. It'll always be a shining star in my life.